Anne Geddes once said, "Any man can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad." And I dedicate that quote to my dad. I would like to first take a moment to recognize my dad. Dear Dad, I'd like to thank you for stepping in these past 4 years, and I appreciate you for all you do. I'm only 15, but yet you've taught me so many valuable skills that are normally looked at as a man thing, and I'm not a man. And they will be useful for the rest of my life. You've taught me everything I know about tools, and I only noticed how good of a skill this is to have after I realized none of my friends know the difference between a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. You taught me how to change a car tire so if I ever happen to be stuck on the side of the highway, I won't have to be stuck there for hours waiting for a man to stop and help me. You've taught me so many more things about life, but I won't get into that right now. I love you so much, and I always have and always will. For those of you wondering why I said 4 years instead of 15 years, that's because the man who is my dad now wasn't always that. He used to be the man that was only my father. According to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, in 2015, approximately 21.3 million adults aged 18 and older had an alcohol use disorder. 2015, that's when it started. I was only 6, and unfortunately, my dad had become one of those 21.3 million people. My dad was choosing alcohol over his family, and because he was at the bar all day, every day, my mom was pretty much a single mom, even though she was married to my dad. I was only a 6-year-old little girl when my dad's dad died, and my dad started to drink the pain away. That's when it got bad. The National Center of Fathering states that around 7.5 million children have an absent father due to alcoholism or other drug addiction disorders. At one point, I was one of those children. I never got to run to the door at night yelling, "Daddy's home," then jump into his arms and give him a big hug. Instead, I came home from first grade and saw my dad lying face down on the floor. I didn't realize at the time that this wasn't normal. I didn't fully realize how much I was missing out on. But I realize it now as I watch my healthy, sober dad be a dad to my little sister. 4 years ago, when my dad walked away from the bottle and came back into our lives, my little sister was 6 years old. Exactly the age I was when he walked out. It's like he picked up where he left off, except my life had continued to move forward without him. February 14th, 2018. I remember this day specifically because it was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had. I was in the 4th grade and my class was having a Valentine's Day party and all the kids' parents were invited. I had asked my dad a week in advance to come to my party and he said yes. I said, "Do you promise you'll come?" And he said, "I promise." I reminded him the night before. I remember exactly what I said. "Don't forget about my class party tomorrow. You promised me." And he said, "Yes, I remember, I'll be there." The following day, I remember bragging to everyone about how my dad was coming. I was so happy and so excited for him to get there. Parents started arriving around 9 o'clock. Everyone's parents were there by 9:50. Everyone's parents except my dad. But I didn't give up hope. Not yet. The activities didn't start until 10. 10 o'clock came. Everyone was starting to make Valentine's Day cards with their friends and their families. But me, I was standing by the door, waiting. 10:45. Still no sign of my dad. The next activity was starting, and that activity was passing out Valentine's Day candies and goodies to the other students. I had brought Valentine's Day goodie bags to pass out to my classmates, but I didn't want to. I never passed anything out, nor did I accept any Valentines from anyone else. I didn't want to do any of the activities until my dad got there. 11:05. It was time to decorate cupcakes and cookies with our parents. Everyone was laughing and smiling with their parents, except me. I was not laughing and smiling with my dad because I stood by the door and watched, waiting for my dad to arrive. I never lost hope. 11:50. It was time to eat lunch. We ate in the classroom that day so we could eat with our parents. The teacher had brought Chick-fil-A for everyone, and the students brought drinks and snacks to share with each other. I got my food, but I didn't eat. I wanted to save my food so I could share it with my dad. I still waited by the door. My teacher came to me and said, "The party ends in an hour, Chloe. I'm sorry, but I don't think your dad is coming." "He will come, I know he will, he promised me." Those were my exact words. 12:30. Still no sign of my dad, and 30 minutes left until the party ends. I started to lose hope, but I continued to stand by that door and wait. I asked the teacher if we could make the party end later. She said no. 1 o'clock. The party was over. Everyone was helping clean up, and I was sitting at a desk in the corner alone, crying. I cried until I got home from school. That's when I realized my dad wasn't even there. Then I started sobbing. When my dad finally came home, I asked him, with tears in my eyes and my voice cracking, "Daddy, where were you?" He told me he had work come up at the last minute. That was a lie. He didn't have any last minute work because he owns a business and works whenever he wants, on his own time. He only told me he was at work because he didn't want to tell me that he was actually at the bar getting drunk all day. And I will never forget that day, and I will never forget how hurt I was. Now that my dad is 4 years sober, he is able to go to all my little sister's school events and class parties. And I'm happy for my sister. I'm glad she has a dad that can show up to all her school events, a dad that can support her, and a dad that takes her out to get ice cream as a reward for getting A honor roll. But deep down, I envy her. Almost a little bit of hatred, even though that's my little sister. Why couldn't I have that? Why couldn't he take me out to get ice cream when I got A honor roll? And the answer is because he was always drunk. He couldn't give up alcohol for me, his own daughter, and for his family. He is now sober and healthy, and I want everyone to know that it's never too late. Even though it's extremely painful to watch my sister live out moments I missed out on, I would rather have this opportunity to build new memories than have to say I lost my dad at 6 years old.